welcome you. Hey, I am your big brother. Where will you be for the revolution?
Of the Sideliners on Wire TV. We've made a few changes. I'm doing the entire show by myself now because that's just how it goes. I just know it all. So be prepared for 30 straight minutes of me talking. And I'm just playing. So we're switching up. We're doing I can't say the kind of show that we're doing, but you'll see. It's very point-based. Everyone's in different locations, but it's still going to be the same great topics, same great stuff from our guys. And it's going to be interesting. So it's going to be a learning curve, though. Don't judge us with just off this episode. It will get better. So there we go. See how that works?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
TV magic. Now everyone's here. I'll let everyone say hello.
What's
going on?
What's up, guys? What's up?
So let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
We'll start off with you, Jiggy. Eli gets benched, and this is New York. We got to talk about the Giants, even when they're terrible. The Giants, the new circus in town, taking that title from the Jets. Finally, we are not the circus of New York. But Jiggy, we'll start with you. What do you think of Eli getting benched? How the Giants handled the situation? What are your thoughts?
It was kind of unprofessional in a way. I felt like the Giants could have handled it in a way better way. They kind of did it without the owner's approval. I feel like the owner was kind of upset about it. Eli was definitely upset about it. And many quarterbacks across the league was upset about it. That wasn't something that everybody was expecting. Everybody was expecting, kind of walking into this week, hopefully picking up a win. But, now they're walking into the week with a new starting quarterback in Geno Smith. I wish him the best of luck. He didn't do too well on the Jets, so hopefully things work out for him and the Giants. But, 210 games, it's not something I'm comfortable with, but it'll take some time. I'll say by the second quarter, I'll be comfortable by it.
All right, Chris, what about you? Same question.
I don't know. The Giants are a train wreck right now. I honestly think in one corner, Ben McAdoo is just trying to spite the Giants because he knows that as soon as Week 17 is over, he's out. And on the other hand, I think he's actually trying to help out the next Giants coaching staff, see what they have in stock with Geno Smith and Davis Webb. No matter what, I feel like they should draft a quarterback, and I think they should remain with Eli for the rest of the season. But I'm not the head coach of the Giants. I'm not making decisions around here. So, but that's pretty much how I feel about it.
All right. Lenny, what about you?
All right, so I'm upset about this just because Eli is the face of the New York Giants, got them 2 rings. The New York Giants, Eli Manning is a Hall of Fame Giant. No question about that. Second point, he's not the reason why the team is 3-9. They have no offensive line, they have no running game, and they have no wide receivers. Brandon Marshall's out for the season, Odell Beckham Jr. is out for the season. Who can win under those circumstances? Please, you have no protection, you have no running game, you have no one to throw to. How is this Eli Manning's fault? And the team is 3-9 now.
2-9.
2-9, excuse me. Even if you win out, you get nothing. You get nothing. So by making this switch, you're doing nothing.
Any parting shots? I have to agree with you guys. The one thing, Jiggy, I'll say is I feel like the owners there's no way that Ben McAdoo just made this call without talking to the owners. They definitely knew. John Maris said today that he regretted the way it went down, but he didn't say he didn't know it was going down. He knew. They definitely knew it was going to happen.
Right.
It's an ugly situation, though. Like I said, the Giants are the circus of New York right now. The Jets are no longer that. Thank God.
Thank God, right.
Exactly. So we'll move on to our next topic. Huge weekend in college football, championship weekend. A lot on the line for a lot of teams. So, Lenny, we'll start with you.
All right.
What are you most looking forward to this weekend?
This weekend, I'm looking forward to that Miami-Clemson game just to see who's real. That Miami, they dropped a big game against Pitt after coming out hot. And Clemson looks like they're the real deal right now. They look, after Bama lost to Auburn, they look like they're the best team in college football right now. They themselves dropped a disappointing game to Syracuse on the road. So both have played down to their competition, went away at times. So now at a neutral site with everything on the line, I can't wait to watch that game this weekend.
All right, Chris, what about you?
I'm excited for the Auburn-Georgia game. It still blows my mind that Auburn beat Bama, and now Bama has it might not be in the college football playoffs. I'm very excited to see where this team goes. Clemson-Miami also is going to be a huge game. And another game I look at, from a scouting standpoint, I like the USC-Stanford game. Both of them as stud running backs, Ronald Jones for USC and Bryce Love for Stanford. I can't wait to see that running game in that game. It's really better to do two backs who's going to win that game.
All right, Jiggy, what about you?
The game I'm looking forward to seeing is Ohio State versus Wisconsin. It's a lot of ties going on to this game. I forgot who else has to lose, but if somebody else loses this weekend, Ohio State might be able to sneak themselves into that top 4. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to. Urban Meyer is definitely trying to put himself in that position. I mean, they were the first team to win the college football championship, when it became the playoff. So, I mean, Ohio State is definitely deserving. I feel like they've proved themselves. Wisconsin, 12-0 right now. They're trying to keep that perfect record, so they have a lot on the line as well. And they have a lot to prove. We haven't seen Wisconsin at the top in a while, so just to even see Wisconsin, in this position right now is really good. So I'm looking forward to that game. That's the game I'm looking forward to. That's circled on my calendar.
All right, one final question about the college football playoff. Do you guys see does Ohio State sneak in? Does Alabama get in even though they're not playing this weekend? What do you guys think of that? Go to you, Lenny.
All right. I think Bama still has a legit shot. Ohio State, not so much. They really haven't been as impressive as they should be. Alabama, just with everything coming into it all, an 11-0 start, then losing in the Iron Bowl. I mean, you can't really fault them for losing at home in such a hostile environment. The same way Georgia lost their number 1 spot at the same field, losing to Auburn. So I still think Bama has a legit shot to get in there, especially if somebody gets absolutely slaughtered this weekend in what we anticipate to be a close game. And I think Bama can sneak in 3 or 4.
What about you, Chris? Do you see a way that Ohio State sneaks in?
I don't think so. I don't really think this Ohio State team is. I don't think they'll pull it off against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's looked too good this year. I think Wisconsin ends Ohio State's hopes of making the playoffs.
You think if Wisconsin wins the game?
That's what I think, yeah.
All right. What about you, Jiggy?
I'm going with my Buckeyes, man, and that's just because I know Urban Meyer. He's very experienced in this type of in this level of championship caliber level. When he had Tim Tebow in Florida, I mean, how many conference championships did he win? Like 5 or 6 or something like that. And then he knows what it's like to win a championship. He knows what it's like to be at the top. I mean, I had faith in him. No disrespect to the Wisconsin offense or defense. Like Chris said, they've been playing really well this year. But I just feel like Urban Meyer is going to lead those guys and come out on top. Alabama, on the other hand, for some reason, I just feel like they always make it in. Just because Nick Saban is Nick Saban, but you can't help that. That's just Alabama. They're just that good. So I do feel like Alabama is going to squeeze in there somehow, some way. If Ohio State can win, then that would be amazing.
All right, staying with you, Jiggy. We're going to move on to our next topic. Greg Schiano doesn't get the job at Tennessee like everyone thought he would. And it was for a weird reason, too. It seemed like the deal was done, and then Volunteer fans were up in arms because of allegations made back that he was one of the witnesses in the whole Penn State scandal. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think he didn't deserve the job? Do you think it was right the way they handled it? What do you think, Jiggy?
I mean, there's a level of professionalism you should always go into with certain things. And Tennessee needs a head coach. They're in dire need of a head coach. I mean, honestly, if they could, they would probably bring in Peyton Manning as their head coach. But they're in dire need of it, and that was their guy. I felt like that was the missing piece to that puzzle that they were, to put a good recruiting class together. But, because of a fan base, you guys kind of messed it up for anybody now. So it's kind of like, you're discriminating against somebody who has experience. I mean, he has NFL experience. He's, defensive coordinator for Ohio State. He had a coaching stint at Rutgers. So, I mean, some of the things on his resume, he should have gotten him the job, but I don't feel like fans should dictate whether you should get the job or not.
Same question to you, Chris. What do you think?
I 100% think Greg Schiano should have gotten the job. I mean, the deal was basically done. I mean, Greg Schiano ran a great program at Rutgers. He wasn't terrible at first in Tampa Bay, but coaching in the NFL and college football is very different. Look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban's one of the biggest embarrassments ever to coach in the NFL, but he's an outstanding coach at Alabama and at LSU before that. I don't think you could judge Greg Schiano based off what he did in the NFL. And then Ohio State, look at that defense. They have a stud defense, even though I was knocking them earlier, but they have a crazy good defense. And then, honestly, who wants to be the head coach of Tennessee? Like, you hear many people turning down this job offer. I mean, people are asking Tennessee alumni, Peyton Manning, Jason Witten, even Alvin Kamara said he even wants a job, the stud running back for the Saints right now. I mean, it's not really looking like a lot of great candidates to get this job, and Schiano was the number one, and they turned him down. I don't understand it at all.
Bring back Lane Kiffin.
I don't know. I love him on Twitter and FAU.
True.
What about you, Lenny? What do you think?
I think the University of Tennessee actually lucked out with these protests. I think having him, I mean, the deal was done and whatsoever, but now you have somebody like Kevin Sumlin who could come in, who just relieved from his duties at Texas A&M, who did have a high caliber start to his career at Texas A&M, especially bringing in the likes of Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans and having a decent defense that he pretty much built out of nowhere. Texas A&M really was hit or miss for the first couple of seasons before he got there, and then he turned A&M into what was a powerhouse at a really tough conference of the SEC. So I think bringing in a big brand name like Kevin Sumlin, who I think he needed a new scenario, needed a new environment around him. I think if that deal works out, UT could be on the come up. I like that move if it happens.
All right, that's going to do it for our first segments. We'll be back after a quick commercial break and break down some more sports topics around the world.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
It's on us
clear of the
pledge
closing
as a
doors.
personal
Why does my
commitment
camera
to
say
keep
starting
men
windows?
and women safe from
Yeah,
sexual
mine too.
assault.
Yeah, they're
It's a
turning.
promise to not be a bystander to the problem.
but to be a part of the solution.
As a SUNY Oneonta student athlete, I am proud to take the pledge. I pledge,
To help keep men and women safe from sexual assault.
I promise,
Not to be a bystander to the problem, but a part of the solution.
I pledge to recognize,
that non-consensual sex is sexual assault.
to identify situations,
In which sexual assault may occur.
to intervene,
in situations where consent cannot or has not been given.
to create an environment
in which sexual assault is unacceptable and survivors are supported.
Join us and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
I pledge to help stop sexual assault.
Over the commercial break, we tallied up points, and Chris Thomas lost. He's out. So we're down to the final two contestants, Lenny Ortiz, Jiggy Davis, and we're going to get right back into it. So guys, our next topic is the Yankees managerial search has taken a weird turn. It's been kind of odd. We haven't heard anything about it, but now news came out that they're going to interview freshly retired Carlos Beltran. So Lenny, we'll start with you. What do you think of that? Do you think this would be a good move for the Yankees to hire Beltran? Do you think it's just publicity interviewing him in the first place? What do you think?
I love the move, honestly. I think Beltran's been a clubhouse guy for the last 4 or 5. I mean, he's always been a clubhouse guy, but especially with his years, declining in talent and really just being a presence in the locker room, especially with the young guys that we had over the past couple seasons. And when he was in pinstripes, the Judges and the Gary Sanchez's and all these Didi Gregorius, he really helped turn these guys into young players with talent into professional ball players that came to the field with a different approach and a different mindset to get better. And so, I mean, you saw his impact with the Astros. I mean, he didn't really play much in the playoffs with at Houston, but you talk to the guys with George Springer, Carlos Correa, Altuve, and they'll tell you how big of a presence he was and how much they looked up to him. And I mean, quick story, when the Yankees were up 3-2 and they took the series back to Houston, Beltran held a pregame meeting and they said that it just completely loosened up the entire clubhouse. They went on to win 2 games. Did the same thing against the Dodgers before Game 6. They ended up winning that. And then before Game 7, Beltran said that he saw the vibe. He understood that everybody seemed ready, didn't say anything, and they ended up coming out hot, fresh out the gate, and they dominated Game 7. So I feel like he's a Hall of Famer player, in my opinion. He's a Hall of Fame clubhouse guy, and he's a guy that can speak two different languages, understands the analytics of baseball, and is a role model to some of these guys. So I think he's everything and more that you want for a manager, especially in New York.
All right, great points. What about you, Jiggy? What do you think?
I don't disagree with the whole hiring of if he was to get hired. I wouldn't disagree with it. Like Lenny said, he has great leadership qualities. And before he was on the Astros, before the Yankees let him go, I mean, he was holding team meetings for the Yankees. And, you know, this is why the Yankees were having that rebuilding stage and trying to find their identity. And Carlos Beltran was that guy that, you know, led the team and told guys, don't be afraid to go for any swing if you feel like it's a good swing. So, I mean, Carlos Beltran definitely fits that quality of for that manager position. I feel like he is kind of young. And with that plays a part of respect. There's a guy by the name of Brett Gardner who reaches an age not too far from him. So things like that play a part as well. If I'm not mistaken, Brett Gardner's on contract for one more season. So, I mean, you know, that's other things to look into. I personally feel like my favorite is Rob Thompson. He's the Yankees bench guy. He's the bench coach for the Yankees. He's experienced. He's been there for a while. And he's definitely somebody who you would definitely want to hear from in terms of controlling the team. So, yeah.
All right, moving on to our next topic. Taking a turn to the NBA. Everyone knew it was going to be a learning curve for the new Big Three in OKC to get it together, but it's been a rough start. I think they're 8-12 right now. A lot of those losses have come where they've led by double digits. I want to say 8 times they've led by double digits and went on to lose a game. So, Jiggy, we'll start with you. What's going on in OKC? Is it something that they can get right, or do you think that one of these guys might be traded in the middle of the year? Maybe Paul George to LA?
Rome wasn't built in one day, and I feel like a lot of guys, not a lot of guys, but a lot of NBA fans in general, they're looking at this Oklahoma City Thunder team and expecting just straight dominance. And the one thing that we're all forgetting is that, yeah, these guys were put together at the beginning of the season, but they were put together kind of last minute. They were put together the day before Media Day, and that was literally, the Media Day is the official day for the NBA. So, I mean, it's still early in the season. They still have time to get comfortable with each other. They still have time to kind of figure out the ins and outs and how to play with each other. So, I mean, it's no rush. I mean, it's an 82-game season. Those guys have been playing phenomenal for the few games. They had a great game against the Warriors not too long ago. And if they can pick that momentum and find that momentum the same way they played against the Warriors every game, then I feel like they should be fine. Guys like Melo and Paul George, allowing Westbrook to lead the team and be the team leader, they're just kind of being the sidekicks, as you would say. And so that's kind of helping them out in a way too. But like you said, it's all about aggression and having trust for each other. And it's not just those three. You got to also think about guys like Steven Adams and Andre Roberson and other guys coming off the bench like Raymond Felton and things like that. So things are going to come together. I'm not worried. I feel like my guy Melo, Westbrook, Paul George, they all got it. So I'm not worried at all.
All right, same question to you, Lenny.
I think, well, I applaud Jiggy. It's the same thing. Rome wasn't built in one day. These guys still need time to mesh together. But you also have to look at the supporting cast that they have, where not everybody's going to play the entire game. So and I don't like Roberson. I've never liked Roberson. So him being on the floor at the same time with all these guys, he just sticks out like a sore thumb to me. I really don't like his fit at OKC. I think they need to trade and bring in somebody else that can come in and start at the 2. Another point, these three, they're superstars. Obviously, they're going to have trouble sharing the ball and everything. But come playoff time, you see these type of players kind of lock in and just take over series, whether it's Russ handling the first 2 games, Melo taking it all himself game 4, PG coming up with a big stop on defense. I feel like either way, whether this team is a 3 seed, a 6 seed, a 7 seed, they're still a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs, especially in this deep Western Conference. You never know who's going to win a series anymore in the Western Conference. But I look to Billy Donovan, who's the head coach now of OKC, and how he's handling these superstars. And I feel like down the stretch, he's the perfect guy to handle this situation, because if you look back when he was coaching in Florida, he had a similar big 3 with Joakim Noah, Al Horford, and Corey Brewer, who turned out to all be top 15 picks once they left, and he won back-to-back chips with them at Florida. So he's familiar with this 3-player superstar team. I think it's just a matter of getting these role players and getting some help to really get them going.
All right, our last topic of the day. I don't know if you guys saw the Kristaps scare last night where he turned his ankle and it looked pretty bad, but X-rays came back negative. He could have come back to the game last night, they said, but Coach Jeff Hornacek said they were up by a lot. They didn't want to risk bringing him back in. But after the game, KP said that he wasn't worried about it and that he heals quickly. He's like a lizard. So that caused all sorts of speculation on the internet, social media. What is the better nickname for Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn or the lizard? Lenny, we'll start with you.
I still got to stick with the unicorn, honestly. There's nobody like him in the NBA. He's a one of a kind. He's a species. I mean, he is the new type of basketball. Talk about ushering a new era with playing small and having fours that can kick out and shoot threes. He's somebody that can do that and more. He can handle the ball. I mean, you look at him now, just backing down people in the paint, turning around at will, and just hitting J's in front of people's faces, and then just going out playing defense, and then just putting on a block show, and then running down the court, and then catching an alley-oop. Like, he does it all. So, he's a myth. He's a myth. You've never seen a player like this before, and I feel like he's just gonna take off. I feel like unicorn fits him perfectly. Lizard. That's a stretch. And I feel like unicorn is so much more marketable also. Like in the city, unicorn, you think of Porzingis, there's so much to go with that. I think he's forever going to be the unicorn to me.
What about you, Jiggy?
I feel like he's been in New York for a while, so he's picking up some of P. Diddy's bad habits with the whole trying to change the name. But I'm sticking with Lenny on the whole unicorn thing. It's a great marketing example. He has the whole unicorn thing on the bottom of his sneaker, so it's something that he can stick with. I'm very happy that he's healing quickly because that injury yesterday was so gruesome and it was so nasty looking and it was so scary for Knicks fans. Knicks fans across the world was probably like, everybody's heart stopped when we saw that. And I was pretty proud of just everybody picking up the slack and his cancer. Tim Hardaway Jr. with, the little shimmy. I'm loving the shimmy. So, yeah, man, stick to the unicorn, man. We don't need no more guys in New York changing names. Please.
All right, so I think we have a winner for our first this style of show, and that would be Lenny Ortiz.
Yes.
All right.
Congratulations, Lenny.
It's an honor and a privilege.
So, Lenny, you get the customary FaceTime. So, what would you like to...
I would like to thank the producer, Tyler Kimball, for putting this type of show together. I mean, a lot of hard work and effort was put into it. Although it's not an original thought, I think we pulled it off to a T today. And most importantly, I really want to shout out my barber, John Ferris, who does an amazing job right here at SUNY Oneonta. So check out Ferris Cuts. I appreciate him. And I'm honored to be the first victor. Looking for more wins next week.
All right, I would also like to shout out John Ferris Cuts.
Hey.
You're not the only one who he cuts there. So that was a butchered sentence. He does good work. Let's just say that. It'll be a wrap for our first show like this. Come back next time. It'll be a little bit cleaner. I'll learn how to speak again. It's been rough. But, finals week coming up. I got a lot of other thoughts on my mind. But thank you. Join us again next time. The Sideliners on Wire TV.